Welcome into this edition of AAPI VTuber Talks. We are tonight talking about, this is episode 2, we're talking about the OG Asian American creators that came before us on the platform, whether that is the makeup artists, the culinary channels, or the skits and the comedy. We're taking a nostalgia trip into the late 2000s slash early 10s with our lovely panel tonight. We have 4 VTubers here with us, going left to right. We will have them introduce themselves in a bit, but for now, I'm your host, AtramentumX, Rise streamer and YouTuber. I am South Asian American. I come from the Indian diaspora, and I'm a second generation American. Let's do some introductions. Starting directly next to me is Revity.
Oh, I'm the first one? Oh, the pressure.
You know how it is with Asians. Being the first is always pressure.
Oh, God. Pressure if you're first, pressure if you're not. What is this? You can't win around here. Hi, everyone. My name is Revity. Allow me to introduce myself. I am a thirsty, nerdy dear girl VTuber. I enjoy playing gacha games, I enjoy playing RPGs, and I enjoy nerding out about creative writing and coding and software development. Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you too, Rev. Thank you for agreeing to be part of tonight's talk show. Wait, did you mention what kind of Asian you are?
Oh yeah, the flavor of Asian I am.
Yes. What's your flavor of Asian? What's your hot pot base?
Okay. I'm going to go with the definition of second generation that I know. I'm second generation Han Chinese. My parents come from China, and I was born in the United States.
Awesome. Thank you, Rev. Next up, we've got Princess Raska, or Princess for short.
Hello, thanks for having me. Hi everybody. My name is Princess Raska. You can call me either. My friends call me Princess, so you decide if you're a friend or not. I'm a variety streamer. I stream on Twitch. I do ASMR on YouTube. I play violin. I sing. I bake, and I sew. And I've done all of that on stream. So, really living up to the stereotype here. As for my flavor of Asian, I am second generation Vietnamese American. My parents escaped from Vietnam to America after the Vietnam War. So then they met here and then had me. Little princess.
Thank you so much, Princess. Princess is also fluent in Japanese. You may have seen her on this channel for some of the Japanese language content that we've done here. Thank you very much, Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Noemi.
Hello. I'm Noemi. I am a old fox spirit that just turned into a harp seal. I'm a mixed bag of a lot of things, but the flavor of Asian I am is Filipino. My parents met in the military, and so my dad, he's African American and was born in the Bronx. My mom raised me in Iligan City, where I was born. So I'm not very fluent in Bisaya or Tagalog, but I know a little bit of dialect. So, hi, maganda!
How long were you in the Philippines for?
Since I was 4.
Since you were 4. Gotcha. Very cool. Welcome to the podcast, Noemi. And last but not least, we have Danktopus.
Hello. I am the Dinktopus Hunter. I am a producer for Geeks 5 Ever podcast. I help a lot with like anime conventions and stuff. I wouldn't say I'm a professional cosplayer, but I'm getting there. I manage I help manage a cosplay studio called 1 Week Rush Studios, or more specifically the cosplayer 1 Week Rush. I also work for a hardware company called Creative 3D Technologies. Hashtag not sponsored. The kind of Asian I am is native Chinese, and that's not like Chinese people. That's like the people who lived in China before it was colonized, and and Cambodian. So double dead culture.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction, Dank. Dank is a person of many, many talents. Yeah, so we've gathered these content creators here, especially these content creators in particular, because they are active on platforms such as YouTube, TikTok, and others. They're making content beyond streaming. So we wanted to talk about the sphere above streaming as well as some of the nostalgia that we may have for certain creators back in the day. Because a very integral part of the Asian American online culture is content creators. For the most part, in our youth and childhood, there was a large movement towards more comprehensive Asian representation in the media and in popular culture. And while we are slowly getting there in the year 2024, it would definitely was a different time in 2005 when YouTube was founded. But before we get into the topic at hand, let's start with with a softball. Food is a very important part of our memory and culture.
Oh,
Can
right off the
you
bat?
Can you tell us a little bit more about a food from your personal culture, or any Asian food for that matter, that triggers intense feelings of nostalgia for you? The guests do not have to go in any particular order. They can go whenever they feel like they have an answer.
Mm, I every Filipino and probably every other culture knows about lumpia. We recently had a party or like a game night at work, and I had made 20 pork lumpia and then 20 chicken, and all of it was gone within 3 minutes.
For the viewers that don't know, what is lumpia?
Lumpia is essentially a spring roll with a lot of tasty meats wrapped up in rice paper. It is so good when it's fried. Really crunchy, really sweet. You can have vegetarian or have a little bit of meat inside it. Either way, it's just a tasty, crunchy treat.
Very cool. I actually remember
Meat
making
egg roll.
lumpia back
You
in the
make
day.
lumpia?
Yeah, back in the day, I used to help out like for Asian, like when I was in undergrad. Like there was always be like Asian nights, like Filipino night, Korean night, Vietnamese night, and being the gourmand that I was, I'd like help out in the kitchen, and, like help us make lumpia. I'm like, I know what I'm doing here.
It's pain, but it's worth it.
The labor of love. That's the word.
100%.
Anyone else? Yeah.
For me, when I live in an area where like they do a lot of like street food still, so most of the where I live, everyone is like an immigrant. So they do set up just food stalls in some local parks, and for me, it's sakoan, which is like a. I'm probably saying that a little bit wrong, but that's just because I have a different accent. But it's just beef stick, and it's made with like krung. That's a lemongrass kind of seasoning, and like a couple of extra things, and everyone makes it differently. But I have a lot of memories growing up of like going to the Asian market and then like paying a quarter to buy like one of them, and me and my siblings would all get one before we go in, and then get one before we walk out.
That sounds really good.
It's so good. Sometimes I spend like $100 and buy like as many as I can and just leave.
Oh my god,
They're
your wallet.
they're relatively cheap.
Respect.
My wallet is safe. My stomach is hungry.
It's interesting.
My
'cause,
wallet
like,
can suffer so that I don't suffer.
like I'm glad you still have that in your area, because I think with the increasing displacement and gentrification of like API communities, you start to see a lot of like street food and like things like, you know, skewers and like buns, stuff like that, being like driven out in favor of like more established joints and like chain stores. It's still alive and well in some parts of. I'm from New York. It's still alive and well in some parts of New York, but I can definitely say like you used to get a lot more things when you were younger. Like, you know.
You miss Shopao.
Exactly.
I think it's because in my area, those who gentrify it are scared to be there. If that makes sense, they're scared to gentrify the area. More so because like it's an untapped market, but it's so very Asian dominated that they have a hard time actually coming in and putting anything there that's not already there.
Right.
So like I mean it's being gentrified, but in like a different way. Like you know, I'm a first generation immigrant or not immigrant, a first generation American born. So like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those who are also first generation are like opening boba shops that have like a twist on it, or like a lot of them have opened like restaurants of like our native foods and stuff. So it's really hard for those who are like those who are not a part of our cultures to actually come in and like replace it.
Mm. Very interesting.
So basically everyone here is just a big dog.
Nice.
That's yeah, that is good to know actually, because like there is that sort of like mentality that all like second generation Asian Americans go into like law and business and accounting and doctors, but there is very much an Asian entrepreneur class that is like coming back to these communities and opening up shops and restaurants and doing artsy stuff. There's quite a few here in Manhattan's Chinatown, for example, that's doing that. There could be more to stave off the encroachment of real estate and other interests, but it is definitely fun to see that because that is kind of the nascent culture that is emerging in like Asian spaces. But yeah, Princess, Rev, any thoughts?
I mean, I can name quite a few foods that I think of when I think of like Chinese food, but I guess the most nostalgic one, I guess two. The most nostalgic two would be the shrimp shumai I used to get. Like, my mom would buy just a pack of the frozen shumai at like the Asian grocery store we lived near. Which, in case you don't know, shrimp shumai is like it's kind of like a dumpling that looks like a cylinder, and it's filled with, it can be pork, vegetable, shrimp. My personal favorite is shrimp.
Mhm.
And I remember it really well because my parents were divorced and they had pretty different like tastes in food, even though they were both Chinese. But the few foods that they shared, I remember one of them was I always got shrimp shumai at both households. And then there was also, of course, the red bean buns, that red bean paste, which I love so much. So yeah, probably those. It just reminds me so much of my childhood, and because my roommate is unfortunately allergic to shellfish and seafood, so I've never really had the chance to get more shrimp shumai. I'm like, I can't really justify it right now, but maybe if I want to go in a bit of a nostalgia fest, I'll get some again if I can find it.
That's so cool.
I think for me, food-wise, like, there's just so many, I don't know, Viet food just has all of it. It hits all the right spots. It's salty, it's sweet, it's got, like acid in it as well. All of it is good. We've got like things for the summer, we've got very warm, hearty things when you're cold. But in terms of nostalgia, I really like this tofu dessert, and it exists in like Chinese people have, I think, a very similar dessert too, but it's like a really soft silken tofu, and it's like usually warmed up, and there's like a syrup that goes over it that is usually like brown sugar and like ginger, and that and like another dessert that's like corn and coconut milk and like tapioca, like very small tapioca bubbles. Like, the desserts, I think, are like really, really yummy. And they remind me of my childhood.
Speaking of sweet tooth, I'm reminded about this kind of like a peanut brittle candy that we used to call. Mind you, the weird name came before all of like like the weird handy things, but it's called Handy.
Oh,
Okay.
So Handy is a kind of like a chocolate peanut brittle that it starts up powdery, but when you set it on your tongue, it sizzles into a melt, and it tastes exactly like peanut butter chocolate. It's so good. Because I have a sweet tooth for that. I could eat those for days. It's just I can't ask the, people here, hey, do you guys have handies?
That's how you end up with someone's TikTok. Guys, you would not believe who just asked what this girl just asked for.
I'm gonna go to my Asian grocery store. I'm gonna be like, hi there. Do you have any handies?
Can I have a handy, please?
Please, thank you.
What a
So I have
handy.
to describe it every single time I go into my Asian market because I'm like, do you have these like little chocolate bars that taste like peanut brittle, but you know it melts in your mouth and it turns into like chocolate? And they're just like, oh, this one. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that one.
It's so
Oh, I
funny.
have such a sweet tooth. I need to hear more about. I need to hear more about all the sweets I should try, or maybe I shouldn't because I'll end up buying them all.
There's this like jelly cake that I used to eat a lot when I was a kid. It's like a what's it called? I think it's like this green. It's coconut and another flavor. And it's like this green layered jelly cake that they serve with like it's like Cambodia, like Southeast Asia, Cambodia, and
It's like green.
Thailand's own version of boba.
Oh.
So it has like lots of different jellies, but like the cake itself is like you eat it separate from it. If I remember what it's called, I'll probably send it in the chat.
Very cool.
Yes, please.
I do apologize, chat. Pronouns are broken. I don't know why. But if you ever need to ask a question, you can put your pronouns as so and so in brackets, and then you can go ahead and ask your question as well, and we'll make sure to respect that. By the way, you may ask questions of the panelists. We have our prepared questions, but we also will be taking questions from the audience. All right, so let's get into some of these prepared questions we have here. So first, we want to continue on the topic of food culture, because it's very important to us, as you can see here. And let's talk about some of the earliest content creators on YouTube. Personally, when I went to undergrad and I didn't know how to cook, I had two resources. One was Martin Yan's cookbook, Yan Can Cook, which was all about Chinese cooking. And then there was a chef named Va, I think, and he was an Indian chef in a hotel. And he'd make these blurry, unfocused videos of like making Indian food, and it was in English, and like he broke it down really nicely. And I watched all of it, and I was making like these stews and curries that I didn't know about because, like, you know, I'm diasporic, like I'm from the Caribbean. We lost a lot of that, and on the move over on the ship. But yeah, some of the earliest popular content creators on YouTube were cooking channels such as Mongchi. Have you ever watched a video like this to connect with cooking from yours or other Asian heritages?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Go
The only
ahead,
one I
Natalie.
can think of right now is Uncle Roger.
No.
Does he
Oh
do,
gosh,
like,
not Uncle Roger.
or does he just review stuff? I've never really watched that much Uncle Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Has
does
done
cook.
cooking. Yeah, he does cooking.
Oh, okay.
And it's mostly shrimp fried rice, but he has done other dishes from Japanese origin other than shrimp fried rice.
He
Oh my
usually
goodness.
does cooking videos as like celebrations ones, I think, like celebration milestones. I'm pretty sure I've seen Uncle Roger making ramen, making egg fried rice.
Mhm.
I think he's made some Filipino dishes.
He
That's
has. He made, I believe, chicharon. Either chicharon or
chicharon.
lechon. Oh,
That
Oh,
sounds right.
lechon.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't actually watched too many like Asian cooking channels. I've watched a few like comedy cooking channels like Uncle Roger, but now that we've been talking about cooking and, you know, cooking Asian food specifically, I'm like, I do kind of want to try connecting more to that part of my heritage, you know? Because
Girl,
of course I have the
totally
recipes
agree.
my mom taught me, but like there's still so much I don't know about cooking Chinese food, I feel.
I'm not allowed near a kitchen.
Actually,
My
why?
ancestors are very
What do you mean?
disappointed in me because
Actually,
I can't be near a kitchen without parent supervision.
Can you make a thing of boxed
what
mac
did you
and cheese?
do?
Probably. without playing the smoke
What
detector.
did you do?
Good enough.
What do you do to get canceled from the kitchen? Kokuri might be a...
So I tried to make grilled cheese on my own,
Just grilled cheese. Grilled cheese.
and I set off the smoke alarm. So I set it off twice. The first time is when I flipped it over on the other side, and then the second time was when the cheese started burning. So I'm not
Oh,
allowed near the
Chow.
kitchen. My fiance knows a lot about that. He doesn't trust me in the kitchen either.
I'm gonna cry.
Damn.
What do you mean?
Did your fiance cook at least? And does he cook Filipino food?
Oh, he doesn't know any Filipino recipes, but I'll teach him. I just don't know how to elaborate them.
You just teach him theory.
Well, that's where YouTube comes in.
Oh yeah, I was able to make carbonara. So that's good. But my mom was
yeah.
in the kitchen, so I didn't do it alone.
I love carbonara.
Yeah, that's not an easy dish to make at all.
Carbonara is so good.
The way that binging with Babish puts it, which is where I get all my recipes, is binging with Babish.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's
He
okay.
makes a really simple carbonara.
Yeah, the easy
Yeah,
carbonara.
The
He's
easy
very good
carbonara.
step by step. I'm Cambodian and Chinese, so I watch like a Mama Heng. It's like she speaks only Cambodian, and they have subtitles. So I guess if you want to learn the language, it's good to learn from there.
I love Mama Heng.
Mama Heng. What's her name? This Korean woman. I forgot her name, but she makes a lot of like really good Korean dishes.
Mochi.
And
It might
I
be
think
Monkey.
maybe
It might
Yeah.
be
maybe
the
it did start with an M, but I don't know. Her profile picture is like her holding a fish and holding a knife.
Monkey. That's Monkey.
It's so
Iconic.
I love we were just able to identify her by the profile picture.
and Cooking with Lou. It's an older Cantonese man who is teaching everyone his secret recipes because he is scared of his mortality, I guess. So he just wants to make sure the food perseveres from the culture.
That is so
Aw.
metal.
Yeah, I
That and
mean,
his son was having kids, and they were like, "We need to share these recipes with our kids."
you know, there's another Chinese channel that has that kind of concept. I think it's a more recent one called Made with Lao.
Ooh.
Boom.
And
Anticipated.
yeah, I really
Oh,
wait. Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's like a dad that was like a chef at like
Oh yeah, that.
most of his life, and his son is filming these videos for his children because like mortality is
Yeah,
won't be around forever.
very good.
Yeah. But I also
His recipes are
watched
good.
a lot
Oh,
of...
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I watched a lot of Asian like food channels because I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna cook something, it's better to cook it from someone who like knows what quote unquote knows what they're doing. And like for me, it just feels like if you're Korean and you're cooking Korean food, then maybe you kind of know what's up, you know?
Yeah.
But I think in the early years of YouTube, I was watching channels like Cooking with Dog.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Like for Japanese recipes, Cooking with Dog
Yeah.
was like the channel that like everybody watched. There was also channels like I don't know if like Helen's recipes. She's Vietnamese, and I couldn't call my mom every time I wanted to cook something because she was working, and my like availability during my classes in college were like weird, right? It was like, oh yeah, I'm free from like 1 to 4, and then I have a 6 p.m. class, so I would turn to YouTube for like meal prep and stuff. And Helen's recipes for Viet food. I think there was also a guy that blogged, Hungry Hugh, but he doesn't have a YouTube channel. I would just follow his like written instructions. But yeah, I think there's also like Gaming Foodie. She does like Viet food, but she does some Korean food because her husband's Korean. Yeah, I love watching. I love cooking and I love making new things. So yeah, it's like your way of cheaply traveling to different locations. Bring it to your house.
I think
Oh, there he goes.
memory is such a an interesting thing because as generations pass, like, because it used to be you left the home country and you probably didn't go back for like decades. Like nowadays, it's pretty much possible to go back like, once a year, whatever it is. But like a lot of times, like you can only do so much to keep your culture like perfectly intact in another country. Your tastes change, the ingredients that are available to you change. And I think in some ways, like the internet sort of allowed us to sort of circumvent that and like look and see how these traditional things are made. I think that's kind of
Right.
awesome.
Right. And like having food change as you move locations is not necessarily like a bad thing, right? Like we have Vietnamese, Korean, like Mexican fusions because of how multicultural it is here. And like we have different like Chinese American foods
Mm-hmm.
because the Chinese who moved here only had, access to certain ingredients. So it's not like a bad thing, but in terms of like connecting back to your like roots and being able to like experience and like understand like where your family comes from and like what food they were eating, it's really like democratized like food. And the barrier to entry is like very very low.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny you mentioned that because like when I was living in China briefly, like there was actually next to the dorm like a lady who had been in America, like had cooked Chinese American food, then went back to China and like started just cooking Chinese American food because it had a different taste, different texture. Like it was like crispy pork with like the sticky sauce, like sweet and sour pork, for example. Like those sort of things she was like serving like to like just the international crowd there because like she just learned that and brought it back. Kind of a fun way that like this sort of cross culture exchange had happened. um yeah, anyone have any other thoughts about like some of the creators? I was funny that Cooking with Dog was mentioned. If you want to see what original YouTube looks like, YouTube
Oh
back in
yeah,
the day,
OG.
look at some of those first videos that Cooking with Dog did.
Wait,
Is anybody
videos
else?
oldest?
Oh my.
Sorry about the car.
It's fine.
It's a dog.
Is anyone else sad
Yeah.
that the dog from Cooking with Dog died?
Yeah, Francis passed away.
100%.
Poor Francis.
Francis
It
was a
was
good
like
boy.
such, yeah,
I can't believe I know this
a
dog's name.
part of the channel. I can believe it. He was a good dog.
He was a good
Atra?
dog. No,
He was
I'm not
very
saying he
well
was not.
behaved.
Yeah.
Francis is an Asian icon.
Aw.
Yes.
Oh boy, Francis.
So the
Memorialized
gimmick
in these videos.
the gimmick behind Cooking with Dog is that there was like a lady who would do the rest of the cooking, but it'd be narrated by Francis, who had like a vaguely Japanese French accent because he was a French poodle.
That is adorable. And
Yeah,
now I
and-
need to check out this channel more.
So good. It was
Oh,
in
yeah,
English
that was
too.
really good.
So it was definitely meant for an overseas audience. Now there is no Francis. There's a stuffed poodle instead who takes.
Yeah.
I know.
We miss him so
I know.
much.
We miss him.
Francis that they like put a plushie in instead.
Yeah. It was his channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got some good recipes in there though.
Oh yeah,
Honestly, yeah.
all the basics, like from okonomiyaki to like nabe to like anything you can imagine, like they've covered in like the 15,
Udon,
20
custom
years.
noodles, crispy
Mhm.
tonkatsu. Oh, I'm so hungry.
I learned how to make karage from that channel. Like
You
because-
did?
yeah,
Karaage is so good.
'cause
Yeah,
instead
a lot
of
the
like
Japanese recipes I learned from Cooking with Dog.
absolutely. Because instead of like like putting in like starch on the chicken, then egging, then like starch, whatever it is, just like make a slurry. So like I make a slurry with the potato starch and the egg, dip it in, then fry, and it comes out perfect, like the restaurant.
Hungry.
Must
Yeah.
consume.
So, sorry to make y'all hungry. Let's move on to the next question. So, let's move beyond food because I know you guys are getting hungry. Let's
Just
talk
a
about,
bit.
let's talk about content in general.
It's like a sleeper response.
Yeah, mentioning food around Asian people. Asian or not, which content creators did you watch growing up? Have they influenced your content at all? Feel free to talk about your content too.
Oh.
There's not much
so
going on.
promo. Let's go.
I guess one of my beginner ones back like when I was like 13, 14 was actually he used to be a Minecraft VTuber. Well, technically he wasn't a VTuber, but he used a character. So he was like one of the very first people that would use a digital character for Minecraft. His name is Einstein.
Oh, let's see.
So Einstein went from making Minecraft videos to making songs, and then to making actual. I believe he's still in the industry. He makes manga.
Wow.
He's a Japanese, fully bred Japanese American. So let me see what his full name. I wrote it down here. It is Charles Hikaru Tachibana.
Got it.
And he is now still a manga artist. He's somewhere out there. He uses a pen name now, so I can't really track him down. But I can recognize his art style anywhere. He's actually one of the first creators that I learned how to shade and draw from.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you were an artist.
I'm gonna
right,
be
Amy?
honest.
I've been an artist since kindergarten when a kid threw a crayon at my face.
Is that how it started? They threw a crayon at your face and then you felt
Yeah.
inspired?
Yeah. It was like getting hit with Newton's apple, you know?
That's how it happens.
you discover gravity, you discover that you have a creative talent with a crayon.
No, not to be very Bay Area Asian, but if I had a nickel for every Asian man named Charles.
Wait, really? Is it a common name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
Jennifer.
pretty common.
It's like Jennifer for
Yeah.
like, or Grace.
Oh my god.
Jennifer for Chinese,
Oh my
Grace for
gosh.
Korean.
No, Grace also if you're Filipino.
Yes, true.
Oh, true.
Oh
true.
yeah.
Amelia too, apparently. Amelia's very common.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
How about the rest
Who
of you?
want to go next?
Yeah, I guess when I think of the first content creators I watched, it was when I was still in like I was a little baby, or I was a lot younger than I am now. So
Mhm.
I was a little baby, and I remember I had made friends with one of the kids at my school, and like we would talk like on the way home on the bus. That was found fun memories. And one day over summer vacation, she just texted me a link, like saying, "Hey, look at this video," and I was like, oh, "Okay." And it was a guy playing. Oh, what was it? It's playing some sort of like sandbox car game, and I was like, "Huh,
Mhm.
this is pretty funny." And little did I know that was my start of my era watching Jacksepticeye and Markiplier.
Oh
Ah.
my god!
Markiplier, baby.
Markiplier, yeah. So when
It's
I think
in
of like,
Markiplier.
I love Mark. Honestly, I just recently started watching some more of his videos. So back then, I watched a lot of Markiplier. Now I still do watch him. So that's like the first person I think of when I think of like Asian content creators I watched growing up.
What's crazy is he hasn't changed at all. He stayed relatively the same mark.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's his like his editing style. I definitely think it's more characteristic of like modern editing styles. But yeah, in terms of like personality, I think he's still really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Markiplier is my ultimate Oshi.
I like that actually.
Respect the mark.
Yeah. Normalize having non-VTuber Oshis, like for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I mean, Oshi just means someone you want to support. So.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Mhm. I just never thought I'd be
Shout out
saying
to
that
Markiplier
phrase.
for calling me cool for saying not to fetishize him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Shout out to Markiplier for not fetishizing Asian people.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bare minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bare minimum. No, it was when a bunch of people were like being really thirsty for him, and like some other Asian people came out saying like this is really weird, and Mark was like, "Hey, hi, hello, thanks for that." And it's like, thank you, Markiplier, for thanking me. You're so cool. I owe you my life.
It's interesting because like there has always been this undercurrent of fetishizing like Asian women, and the pendulum sometimes swings backwards towards Asian men, and I find that it depends on who you're talking to. If you're on Reddit, they're gonna tell you no problem, we like that. But like if you talk to like normal people, like they'll be like, nah, it's a little weird. Like when we talked to the boys last week about it too.
Yeah.
I don't know where to land on that because I think people might want to have the inclination to overcorrect. But yeah, I think it's really cool that he took sort of like he addressed that like straight on. Like I think that's really cool. I don't know where I was going with that.
It's still prominent in the older generation for sure. But he's, I believe, second, or is he first generation Korean?
I don't know, actually. I'm tempted to say
I think he was
second,
first
I could be wrong.
generation. Yeah, I think he was first generation.
Yo, can we talk about the entire discussion where you're trying to figure out like what first, second generation and all that means? We were like talking about that. And
I was really confused. I was like, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I thought I meant this. It turns out I meant this. What do you mean?
It really depends on who you ask.
Yeah, so if you ask the U.S. Census Bureau, if you were born in a foreign country, you are first generation American.
Oh, okay.
Second generation if at least one parent is an American.
Okay, that's confusing then. Because I'm both.
Yeah.
You're first and half generation. 1.5.
Yeah, you're
1.5
well technically no.
Yes, there is 1.5. That's true.
Oh god.
Okay, so
you're the 1.5.
Like Revan showed
one
you, but that's
parent
actually a thing.
is American.
Oh no.
And then I'm also born in a different country.
Yeah, that's like actually a thing. I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would be 1.5. Yeah.
Heck yeah! I got a 5.
Yeah.
Woo!
A 5 out of what?
1.5555555 in continuum.
Also, I think Markiplier would be 1.5 as well.
Yeah.
Yes, he would be. I'm like reading his bio. Like he's from Hawaii, where like Asians come from, like Asian Americans come from. That's the motherland. But his mom is South Korean from the base, and his dad's German American.
Speaking of from Hawaii, one of my big inspirations growing up was Ryan Higa. His username kind of, you know, I get what it's supposed to be, but like Ryan Higa was the way back then, like super early YouTube, like 2007. You know, how to be ninja, how to be gangster, and how to be nerd.
Videos.
The skits, yeah.
And then there's My Choni. My Choni was also like really big back then for like Asian dad disapproves of Asian son. And Uncle Chin and Uncle Same with their improvised Asian accent like music videos. Wongfu Productions was really good for a lot of things, but I feel like a lot of, for me, being an older, sort of like an older person, like very young on YouTube, these were like shaping a lot of things for me because
formative moments, yeah.
Yeah, very formative moments, especially since I was like, whoa, there's so many like other Asian people who are actually making content. And I was like, this is kind of cool. But it's very like, some of it was like very specifically like the Asian experience. and growing up, and that's sort of, I guess, what I was attracted to back then, or like comedy skit type things. I feel like that says a lot about my personality.
I think that's a great point that you've made there, actually, because the idea of quote unquote Asian American, like, really sort of took off in the 60s around the civil rights movement, but it was very much a college campus academic movement to support the black struggle for liberation. And for that reason, like, people were like, I'm Japanese American, I'm Korean American, I'm Chinese American. And like, there weren't many of Asian Americans to begin with at that time. You had very small amounts of people, like, sprinkled across the country because of the immigration system being what it was. And then you had Hawaii and parts of California, and that was it. Um, and then I think you wouldn't find a lot of people classifying themselves as Asian American through like the 70s and 80s into the 90s even. And I think it's having a second resurgence now with the internet because so many people are looking for what to describe what they are. Because yes, you might be Chinese American, Korean American, and such, but there is also an Asian American culture, especially if you're from like an enclave or something. Like if you're from like Flushing or Chinatown or San Gabriel, South Central Koreatown, San Jose, Westminster.
San Jose.
Sorry, I'm also from the Bay.
Oh goodness gracious!
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to?
In San Jose?
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so sorry.
Anime, but it's okay. It's okay. I think there might be like a delay.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. No, I totally feel you because I'm like really similar. I'm about to take you guys down memory lane of like really old YouTube. I told you guys.
Let's go.
So I feel like much like Danktopus, like it didn't matter to me like what kind of Asian like these content creators were. I think when I was just young, I was just really hungry to see people that like looked like me and who could speak to like the experiences that I had like growing up in a country that spoke English, but like at home I spoke a different language, right? So channels like Wong Fu Productions and Ryan Higa and Michelle Fan and like makeup artists like Secret Life of a Bio Nerd or Bub's Beauty or comedians like Happy Slip or Anna Akana, like all of these people like looked like me, not exactly like me necessarily, right? But like they were Asian, and that was for me, for young princess, like that was enough to satisfy that like I guess hole that I had from watching regular media like Hollywood, like shows and cartoons, because I didn't see myself being represented on these like American TV shows and such. I mean, I think we had like Community with Ken Jeong. He's great, he's funny, he's hilarious, but like that was like very, stereotypical like Asian guy.
That's an interesting case study right there. Of him trying to reinvent himself now without the stereotyping.
Yeah.
Speaking of media,
and, like, artists,
though.
like...
Oh, speaking of media, I wasn't exposed to that many shows with Asian people in it. So, what my mom did that I feel so grateful for is showing the media that she watched when she was younger, and that leads me into like Ip Man and Kung Fu Hustle.
Ip Man was so good.
There's also this show that she watched when she was younger. It was called Angelina and Yaya, and essentially it's about two grown men dressed up as a child and a babysitter, and they have this comedy skit. It goes all downhill. The movie's hilarious. A lot of the media that I watched was more of different cultures, because I used to watch a lot of Dora, and immediately afterwards my mom told me, like, you came downstairs one day and you were like good morning in Spanish, and I just like, why are you speaking Spanish? And she's like, and well, I'm like, I don't know, I just watched Dora, and it was all in Spanish, by the way. And then the next morning I was just like, good morning, Mom, how are you? So it puts an influence on your young mind when you're in this, I would say culturally diverse place. Most of my I guess surroundings is African American. So
Mhm.
I've been experiencing a lot more culture as of recently than I did back then.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely think like definitely late 2000s when you were able to like get like DVDs and stuff and like start to download movies on the internet. That exposed a lot of people to like Hong Kong movies and like Korean
I have a
dramas,
point about that. Yeah, C dramas and K
C
dramas and
dramas, yeah,
K-pop and
TVB,
and Japanese
I've been
anime. Like,
anime. Goddamn it.
and anime
Oh,
too.
anime is the
Anime,
big
Goddamn
big
anime.
anime.
yeah,
Anime
Yeah.
is the big kicker
Anime
for
was a
me.
mistake.
Okay, it was
Oh my
going good for the
nemesis.
first few years, but then then it hit the unforgettable wave of the not so good one.
On this show, 5 anime people say anime was a mistake.
Listen, it wasn't completely a mistake. Just like maybe 78% mistake.
Yeah, we are the 32%.
My nemesis.
No, I'm definitely a mistake.
Oh, we are
No,
the
don't say that.
31%.
I thought about it at least.
But Princess, you were saying?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just like because of that, I feel like it exposed a lot of like Americans to like different Asian cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Floppy mentioned Fresh Off the Boat, but there were other like the really really big one that I can remember is Crazy Rich Asians. I didn't look up when that came out, but like I think it was the first time like on the big screen that like an all Asian cast was like part of a movie, and I don't think it was like it was like a combination of factors that really led it to like really flooding the media with like Asian representation. Like it was just a growing sentiment for like Japanese, Korean, and Chinese music and media that like led to now, you know, like how ubiquitous it is, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I usually think of. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. When I think of like media where the cast is predominantly Asian, or when you think of it, you think of like the Asian origin. I usually think of Crazy Rich Asians. I also think of Parasite.
Oh, right.
The
Um,
first critically acclaimed one, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I think the 2010s going into like the 2020s, but so much of the 2010s I felt like there was so much, I guess you could
Mhm.
say, so much media that really brought Asian culture into the spotlight. And
Mhm.
mhm.
yeah, there's anime. We have to talk about anime. There's everything with K-pop,
Godzilla!
K-dramas.
The Godzilla series. Oh my
Oh,
Oh, Godzilla.
yeah!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember
Yeah,
like those
actually, you
movies
also
where it's
linked-
just the man in the suit and he's just like clawing at the other person? That's
What about, like, Power
Power
Rangers?
Rangers.
Oh, Power
Super
Rangers,
Sentai,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Tokusatsu and stuff like that.
I love the
Mhm.
Power Rangers.
You know, I never realized until like I was in college that Power Rangers was from like Japanese tokusatsu like
Mhm.
shows.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because
That's
you know
like
they like took that concept and like replaced all of the actors with like white ones, except for the Yellow Ranger, which was my
Yes.
favorite
You know.
Ranger. By the way. Favorite Ranger.
You know, what did they mean by that? What did they mean by that? What did they
Yeah, I
mean
know,
here?
right?
The
But, like-
90s were a different time.
Favorite time.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that
What about,
entire like Super Sentai, like all that was because of Haim Saban. Like just licensed all of that and brought it to the US audience. And without Haim Saban, that doesn't happen, basically.
Mm.
Mhm.
A Jewish American entrepreneur who's like, yeah, these shows would do great here. We just gotta change a couple things.
He was like, this shit kind of fucks.
Yeah.
What about I want to know if like this is especially for the Asian female born experience. What about Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, that was a
Love
good
that.
movie.
Oh yeah.
That's a great movie.
That's also like almost all Asian cast,
Mhm.
and it's very integral because I feel like a lot of people really didn't know, or I feel like a lot of American people didn't know, but the lead actress was the first Asian woman to be in like a martial art movie star,
Michelle
and she
Yeoh.
was very yeah, she did a lot of really good stuff, and it was weird because there was like a long drought of her not really like doing too much or like not being in the spotlight.
Hmm.
I feel like it was really good to see a movie with her in it again, especially with like such a big role.
Mm-hmm.
Was it maybe because there weren't a lot of roles for like Asian women of a certain age in Hollywood and also overseas?
I feel like definitely for sure, but even more so for like just coming back to the other conversation we were having, like that I feel like it has a lot to do with how like Asian women are viewed in the media. That just to say it in a nice way, you know?
Yeah.
This podcast, you could say it in a not nice way too.
Oh yeah.
An example
If
of a
I'm
not
saying it
nice
in,
way.
if I'm gonna say it in the
Retail is
not nice
terrible.
way,
Retail shows you the
Just
ugly in people. Let me tell you that.
hmm just the way that like Asian women are portrayed as like this femme fatale who's like from the East and so mystical and like she'll do anything
my
for a
God,
man and stuff and like
like Kill Bill, it was terrible. It was so
yeah,
bad.
Yeah, Kill Bill was terrible.
Yeah.
it was terrible.
$5? You want sucky suck?
Oh God.
Oh god, that brought back so many painful memories of elementary school.
Yeah, like how many kids growing up heard that shit because like they watched Kill Bill and they weren't supposed to, and like now like
Yeah.
they're taunting like other people with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
Kids are
You
just
know, but-
like little sponges. Sorry, go on.
No. Because I was just trying to connect it back to like how growing up and watching that like affected my content. It's time for a little self promo.
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
Well, it's just because like I would see these people who like looked like me and who were doing things that were really cool, and it seemed really like they were fulfilling like their passions, and
hmm
I'm pretty sure that they had parents telling them, be a doctor, be a lawyer. It wasn't as if they fully threw themselves 100% in, because like some of them were like going to farm school and stuff and
hmm
like majoring in biology, but
Mhm.
it basically was like for me saying, hey, just because you do one thing and you go to school for one thing doesn't mean that you can't find success as like a content creator online. So like seeing artists like Far East Movement and like Sam Sui and AJ Raphael being like super successful, and like people who were doing content makeup tutorials and stuff, I was like, I could do,
Mhm.
for the longest time I thought I was going to be a YouTuber. I wanted to be a YouTuber. But then I realized, wow, if I want to be a YouTuber, I have to edit videos.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Oh
And
no.
I don't know how to edit videos, so I would rather stream on Twitch and then throw the VOD to YouTube. I mean, it's worked out for me. But things like singing and stuff, like I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Like, check out my covers on YouTube.
You edit videos now, don't you? You do short film content.
It's mainly my audios, which is editing like my audios and then slapping an image over it. It is very bare bones in terms of editing. I don't actually do any TikTok shorts or like turning a 3-hour stream into like 10 minutes. I don't do any of that.
Okay, but you see that you are
Mhm.
a YouTuber though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do ASMR videos. And
You have
stream
content
on
on there.
YouTube, but I do.
You
Does that
you
count?
post stuff on YouTube.
You're a YouTuber.
You're a YouTuber.
You do both.
You've been a
but I've
YouTuber all
always
along.
wanted to do, like, makeup or like sewing videos, but
You
that
don't
was
have
never.
to
I
do
don't think that was
those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still a YouTuber. You create content on YouTube. That's a YouTuber.
The great thing about YouTube is there's a wide variety of content that goes on there all the time.
Oh yeah.
It is.
The you
It
part
is.
is you doing you. So
Mhm. But
Two-part
What's the
is
two part?
isn't that the appeal of some of these original
Two-part is where you-
creators? Because it was
Yeah.
Asian people doing normal things, not fighting like martial arts,
Not doing
like
martial arts, yeah, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Or like, being a NASA scientist, like doctor, like
Or like a submissive wife for like some
Mhm.
person and like
not the butt of a
oh
joke.
goodness.
The protagonist,
Yeah, or
not a side character. Like it's about them and their
Yeah.
story.
Just being a normal guy. Like today I went to the park. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that
There
was
is an
like
appeal to
my
that.
favorite. My favorite Uncle Chin and Uncle Same videos were like, "Hey, do you want to go to the park?" And it's like, "Yeah," and they just go to the fucking park and that's it.
yeah, 'cause I
Like,
think
"Hey, we're
starting
walking down the
off, I
street because
feel
we're
like-
hungry," kind of thing.
No, yeah, like always asking or seeking approval and like watching
Mhm.
things like this almost gives you permission to just be normal and not need to like achieve, overachieve,
Hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Man, that actually reminded me of an Asian content creator that has been on my mind as of today, Eugene
Mhm.
from the Try Guys.
Oh,
Oh my God, Eugene!
Eugene!
Literally breaking news.
Honestly, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I'm so proud of him. I'm so sad. I'm so sad because I'm
Mhm.
going to really miss him in the Try Guys, but also like, God, I looked up to Eugene so much because it was amazing seeing him being like a part of a group, and he was just like one of the guys, but also like
Mhm.
I loved that at the same time he was, just an ordinary person as this group dynamic, but also
Mhm.
something that I think was really cool was the way that like he was just so proudly and unabashedly just Asian.
Mm.
And I was like, I
Mhm.
think that's great. I think it's great that you can be proud of who you are and also be one of the guys, right?
What I also really like about Eugene is that he makes comedy like for everybody. Like he's not
Yeah.
only just funny like to us, he's funny to everybody. And that's what I love.
Mm, mm, mm.
He's the all around humor.
Mhm. Another great thing about Eugene is that he was a very openly gay man, and
Mhm.
that took a lot for like somebody who was born in Korea and like in a very homophobic family to be an openly gay person
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah.
making content about it to like tell other Asian men that they shouldn't be scared to express themselves. Like that was really big.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fashion icon Eugene. His outfits and stuff.
Mm-hmm. His coming out video was a cultural
Oh, it was
icon.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget it.
Oh
He
my
honestly
God.
left a huge mark on the day that he came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw the news about him. I was like, oh, I'm so happy. He's just
So happy for you, Eugene.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I love that he's going out and pursuing his own thing, right? Because, even though it's understandably sad that he's not going to be technically part of the guys anymore, I think it's so cool that he's willing to step out and say, hey, I've been making this, I've been part of this, and it's been great, but he's like recognizing that he wants to continue doing his own thing. And I think it's really great how fulfilling it seems to be for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting
Yeah.
because like these are very much careers and jobs. Like you think some of these careers will be around forever, and eventually they do drop off. Look at Kev Jumba, like hasn't made content in almost a decade at this point, and he was kind of very integral to like the first couple of years of like the Asian American experience. Like Ryan, I don't know if Ryan Higa still makes content. Wong Fu has like sort of stepped into other projects. Like they're not around anymore, but the videos still remain.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen that Kev Jumba actually is a monk now.
He's a monk?
No way.
Like,
He's a
really?
huh?
Yeah, like some people were posting that they were like finding old Asian YouTubers and like, I think Kev
Tracking them
Jumba became a monk. I think it was either Kev Jumba or it was My Choni. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Kev Jumba became a monk because it was a part of their culture.
I think what
Oh.
happened was that he was in a very severe car accident and survived.
Mhm.
But don't quote me on that. Someone Google that, I suppose. I
Yeah,
think
He
after
someone
was in
having
a
fact
that
check
car
these.
experience,
accident. It said
Mhm.
he was severely injured in a car crash in June of 2015.
Oh, okay.
I don't see anything about monk.
I think he might have become a not a Buddhist
Buddhist?
monk. He might have
Oh.
been Christian.
He made a blog titled Monk College
Oh,
Nope,
okay.
I'm
on
wrong.
Oh.
YouTube so he could meditate and go to college. And he did privatize the video for unspecified reasons.
Right.
Yeah,
It was like
so I mean, you were correct in remembering, but I don't think that's currently what he's doing.
You might just be going to college.
yeah, he might be in college. Who knows?
Well, that's
That's
an interesting
crazy.
thing. Like once you've been a public figure for so long, and you sort of end your content creation journey, if you choose to do so, you kind of can go back to
Mhm.
being an ordinary person, just a regular citizen.
Yeah.
You don't got to post updates on Twitter or anything.
This is
I
one
wish it was like that
creator
for
I
Joji.
did, Oh yeah, for Joji. Oh, I feel
Someone
so
please
bad
help
about
him.
what happened.
Wait, what happened to Joji?
A lot. A lot has
A
happened to
lot.
Joji.
I mean, I've
But,
heard his music, so I assume so. But
He can't go back to a regular
Oh.
person. Not after Filthy Frank. Not after.
yeah, he cannot go back to being a
Yeah.
normal
He
person.
can't. He already made a reputation for himself, and unfortunately, it's stuck. Even if he tried to change, so he's been dealing
Yeah,
with that.
like
Oof.
even if that was never really his intention as well.
I was thinking about Jay from the Cub Scouts. He made my high school experience pretty bearable, because honestly, his energy for his videos were phenomenal. Like, he's half Filipino, half white. He I watched him grow from like 1,000 subs all the way up to 1,000,000, and right now
Oh.
he's still making content nowadays, but he had lost contact with his firstborn son because he had a custody battle with his ex-wife, and watching it all go down kind of disheartens me, because he loved his son so much, and losing custody of his one and only son kind of made me, a little disheartened. But he's pushing through.
Right. I think that's kind of interesting, is knowing so much about like these when you know so much about like an influencer and stuff, and then you like when they're gone, there's kind of like some sort of like void, or like what happened to them. Like I feel like it's when you know so much about them, you feel like at some point that there was something there,
Absolutely.
not in a parasocial way, but like it was a part of your life as well.
Yeah.
He
Mhm.
made my
It seems like
childhood
they're
super
so
fun.
casual. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it seems so much more reachable than like a celebrity, you know? These are just like normal people who make videos like at home. Well, that's where they started off, like it makes them seem approachable and like just like me for real, Like
Mm-hmm.
On the
Yeah.
off chance,
For real.
if Jay ever watches or ever sees a VTuber video, know that he's a great dad and he's doing great. He's kind of slowed down in content a lot, and I would really love to see more of his horror content, because I'm a big horror fanatic.
Mhm.
And I really miss his content. But know that you're doing great, Jay, and you're a
So
great
sweet.
dad.
Yeah, no, not all parasocialism is bad. There are levels to this thing.
Yeah.
And at the most basic level, like it's just, hey, I like this person, and like I feel connected.
Yeah, I feel like I know that very well as a cosplayer, like exceedingly well,
Yeah.
because like going to conventions and stuff, and like content creators, a lot of like the most popular content creators for Asian people were cosplayers, like Yaya Han and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like goodness. And a lot of them have actually quit cosplay because, except for Yaya Han, of course, because she has like an empire now. But a lot of the first few like Asian cosplayers have quit cosplay so long ago because they're like, it's like the Spider-Man, like Spider-Man Green Goblin outfit. Like you got to put it away to like live a normal life. As like a cosplayer, like it gets to the point where like, oh yeah, I could very feasibly meet my idol. Like I could meet like those that I looked up to. Like I actually almost met Yaya Han. Like I was in the same convention as them and I walked past them like 3 times and I forgot. I just didn't. I was like, oh my god, that's.
I've
And even then, my boss kind of has beef with them, so I was like, I don't know if I should talk to them because she really hates him.
Damn.
Like that's the funny part. She hates him,
Oh my goodness.
and I don't know why.
You
like,
don't gotta walk up and be like, "Hey, this is my boss."
Yeah.
yeah, no, but like he would get mad at me. That's the thing. It's like he'd be like, I can't believe you'd spoken to her, my arch nemesis.
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
My biggest
drama
opposite.
is so silly sometimes. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very silly. It's because he went and told her like he looks up to her and that she was like his biggest inspiration as like a Mexican American, like also an immigrant and like, well, not an immigrant, but like also a first generation or 1.5, and seeing another immigrant like make it in a field like a pure passion sort of thing, it made him very happy. And then she was just like, yeah, you're not even that good. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, oh,
Oh,
she just started ripping
That's
into
a
him
villain
for
arc
some
start.
reason. It was his villain arc. He was like, I'm gonna become the best motherfucking cosplayer in the world so I can show Yaya Han I'm good.
Making Iron Man
The good
costume in his
version of
closet.
Incredibles.
The Green Goblin was calling him.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. So this is a question specifically targeted to this panel, actually. So, though continuing to be popular today on TikTok, one of the biggest originators of short-form makeup tutorials was Michelle Phan. Why do you think she appeals so heavily to young women, and do you think her legacy as a content creator endures to today?
Oh, I know
she's
this
so
very
fucking
well.
pretty. Like,
Yeah.
I know this one very well. Like, following Michelle Phan since I was very young. It was just because one, she was like probably the only Asian makeup artist on YouTube, and she was also the very first one, actually. Like, I was watching this.
But there were definitely others.
Yeah, there were definitely others, but like I was watching this other Asian makeup artist like doing her makeup and talking about her being like if not one of the first, if not the first, like a makeup artist on YouTube and like their experience with that, and it's like, yeah, you know, it's just pretty cool. Something about like how some other things about how like it was sort of like an uphill battle, but like I think they still have like quite a huge reputation. They have their own like brand now and everything. So like if you want, you could buy Michelle Phan makeup like right now if you look hard enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she
That
founded
big
Ipsy
crossover.
First after I think after partnering with Lancome, which is like a really big obviously
Big.
makeup
It's real big.
Oh, yeah.
brand. And then I think she also had partnerships with like L'Oreal, and then eventually founded M Cosmetics, which is her makeup brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Oh, is
I mean,
that her
speaking of
brand?
cosplay, it is M
I didn't realize
Cosmetics, yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking of cosplay though, Michelle Phan also did a lot of cosplay makeup tutorials
Yeah.
in the early stage. And I think that's how I like found her, was like I was looking for some kind of like Sailor Moon makeup or like Final Fantasy makeup, and she did a few of those, but like I think it's just the way that like she spoke and how approachable she seemed. And I feel like I'm crazy. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if you guys watched Michelle Phan. Didn't she also kind of speak about like self-worth and like body image? Like I was trying to go
Yeah.
through some of her old videos, but I couldn't like find any clips of her talking about that. So I was like, I feel like I'm just imagining this.
No, in her
I know
earlier
that, like,
days, she was like more inclusive for body types, and she was more all about on cosplaying what you wanted to cosplay.
hmm I know that from the interview that I watched, she still is very much like the body image kind of person. And I feel like that does tie in a lot with what we were saying earlier about like how Asian women are treated and stuff.
Mhm.
Because she obviously like I believe she's spoken about like all of the uphill battle that it was for her as an Asian woman.
Yeah. I particularly loved her because not only was she Asian American, she was Vietnamese American. And I claimed her. I was like, this is my YouTuber, you know.
We reppin',
Uh,
we
She's just like
reppin'.
me, for real, for real.
my OG, you know, like when I was young, I would watch YouTube and I would like always load up her channel to see if she had like new tutorials and stuff because, you know, like you grow up and because, you know, I was really exposed to like C dramas and
Mhm.
K dramas and like Japanese idols and stuff when I was younger. So I was always like, oh man, like Japanese people, Korean people, Chinese people are so pretty. And I didn't have any role models that were like Vietnamese where I'd be like, wow, they look so pretty too. And like growing up
Mhm.
as a Vietnamese American, like in San Jose, where there's a lot of Vietnamese people, I'm like, man, like I want to feel pretty and I want to feel like I'm being represented, but I didn't have anybody like that until I found Michelle Phan and her YouTube channel. So,
Mhm.
her.
That's really lovely to hear, actually. Like, I feel like that's a story that probably resonates with a lot of people because, like,
Mhm.
as we said before, like when you're not seeing those people like on TV in makeup ads, just visible at all, because makeup for everybody is different. I assume I don't wear makeup, but like makeup for like African Americans, makeup for Asians, makeup for like Caucasian people. I'm sure it's different. Like,
Makeup is definitely a tool for all kinds of
Mhm.
cultures, but that's just it. It's only a tool. I don't understand the hate behind it. Like, it's
Yeah.
to enhance looks. It's not to, batter yourself up like a cake.
but don't you know you're being deceptive to men?
Apparently.
Oh, God.
Man, oh my god,
I
I
was
put
gonna
on a
say
highlighter
that's
too.
And like you
that's
talk
what I was gonna
about
say. That's the whole like
representation.
stigma, I guess.
Oh yeah. I mean, what if I want to cake makeup on my face? So what? You know, like
It
it's a
makes me
form
feel
of
pretty.
Mhm.
self-expression and art, you know? Like I'm not doing it
Yeah.
for you.
I
Like
do love that the term is also like actually called caking your face when you do
yeah, I
that.
want to be a fucking cake. I want to be a delectable dessert, okay?
You gotta
So
look at
what?
me and you gotta think I'm Willy Wonka.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna make myself into a delicious cake and make people want to take a slice of this.
Wait, doesn't that come from like the old-fashioned makeup being like just cakes of powder that like
That's
had lead and
Yeah.
true.
shit in it?
The lead.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
poisonous,
like
poisonous lead.
yeah, old makeup, and if you put on like too much foundation, for example, like it feels like really heavy and everything, like heavy and oily sometimes.
It will
Mm.
literally flake off your
Mhm.
face if it's not applied correctly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goodness
But
I
like
gracious,
mean,
Sean.
Atra, you were like talking about representation. It's like you don't realize it that like you're missing something until you see something that really like resonates with you and you're like, wow, I can't believe like this has been missing this entire time.
Me when I see
Mhm.
Kumail Nanjiani's abs.
You'll get there, you'll get there.
you got anything you want to talk about?
No,
It's okay, we're here for
It
you.
was the last episode.
Oh.
Now we bottle it up till next year.
Okay, understandable.
But you can still talk about his washboard abs, don't worry. We don't judge.
We're always down.
I feel like talking about seeing yourself or seeing like representation for like you specifically is very big because like growing up, all of us growing up, like of course very big for all of us was like anime, and like
Mhm.
it was a lot of like, oh well, you look like this character because you're Asian, and it's like, oh goodness.
Oh,
I've when I was in middle school, Bleach was really popular, and one of the only other I went to a school with like maybe a handful of Asian people. So like the only other Asian guy came up to me, and for the very first time in my life as like a little 10-year-old, like this guy came up and went, "You look like my favorite girl from my favorite cartoon show. You wouldn't know it. It's called Bleach. You look exactly like Rukia, and like I'm so in love with you." And I was just like,
Oh no.
Oh, wait.
I was like, "What do you
Oh,
think I look
God.
Japanese?" And then come to find out, like almost 20 years later, that I'm like 1/4 Japanese due to unfortunate circumstance.
Ah.
Ooh.
And I got so upset. I was like, "Oh my god, he was right."
He smelled it on you.
You know, I
He
know
was-
that there are some like particularly crazy takes in the cosplay community. Like, some people who are white who try to cosplay characters, and they're like, "Well, you don't look like the character because you're not Asian." And I'm like, anime people have like blonde hair and blue eyes too. Like, what are you talking about right now?
Also, they don't
Like,
look anything like real
Mhm.
people. Like what?
yeah, like they're
Yeah.
pixels on the screen. Like, why are you so mad right now?
You know what?
Yeah,
Asian
me and
characters are
a
modeled of.
Hmm?
They're
Cats.
modeled off of cats.
me and a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, that's modern anime girls though, because like older anime women were like modeled to look like actual women with like a lot of like varied skin tones and like body shapes and stuff.
Mm.
Like the pinnacle of it, the golden age of anime was really good because oh my god, they looked like women.
Yeah.
They
that's 'cause
didn't
that
look like
takes-
children.
That takes much more time to draw and animate. It's just easier to simplify
Yeah.
everyone, make them like cartoon characters that look
Mhm.
like cats. And then outsource it to
Um,
Vietnam for cheap animating.
Taiwan actually. There's like an anime that actually talks about it. It's called Shirobako, where they talk
Oh.
about how anime is made, like
Mhm,
step by step, from the actual like side of like the studio itself. The studio making it made an anime about their own studio, which is really funny. I was talking to a cosplayer last weekend. Shout out to Kimochi-con. That was really good. One of the only the one of two Asian cosplay guests. Her username's Lady in Red. Shout out to Lady in Red. We were talking about it, and the inverse of that whole thing, where it's like white people or people who are not Asian coming up and going, "Can I cosplay this character whose entire everything about them is that they're Asian?" Like
Why are you asking me?
it was like me and her were like, exactly. It's like, wait, why are you asking the Asian person who cosplays this character permission to do that? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, on one hand, you could cosplay who you want. On the other hand, if it's a character and their whole personality or like is very surrounded by the fact that they are an Asian person, or like everything about the character is like built on top of that, that's where it gets kind of like, you know.
Mm-mm.
Because with the Spider-Verse, we've had like a resurgence of people finding out about other spider people. So I was like, oh man, Silk, the first Asian woman Spider-Man, but also like one of the first few people of color Spider-Man and one of the first few female Spider-Men, right?
Mhm.
I was like, oh, perfect, I should cosplay that because I don't want to cosplay Penny Parker. She's a fucking child, right? So like, next thing I know, like I have a group of friends and they're called the Bunny Boys and they're all Asian. Shout out to the Bunny Boys in Texas. Bunny Boys, Dallas, Texas. They're all Asian except for like four of them. And one of them, like their girlfriend, cosplays Silk, and she is not Asian. And so a lot of the Asian cosplayers were like, I don't know how to feel about that. Because Silk's whole character and personality is that she is an Asian woman and that she's supposed to be, even if it's like fetishistic, a sort of like closer portrayal of a Asian woman than Penny Parker, being like a anime character. I mean, Penny Parker in the comics is very different, but Penny Parker in the movie is supposed to be like, I'm a cute anime girl, and like sort of a harmful stereotype, you know. So it felt like I was talking to this cosplayer, and she's like, it feels like we're getting, even if, you know, we're giving so much by like, you know, being the pinnacle of all cosplay, when it comes to like all the characters come from like Japan, you know, or like Asia, we're still getting stuff taken away from us, is what she was saying. that it feels like when people come up to like an Asian girl who cosplays Ada Wong and goes, "Hey, can I cosplay Ada Wong?" Like it kind of is like, okay, sure if you want, but like, have you played the game? At the very least, a lot of like Asian cosplayers want you to know and respect the character. But when you only do it for popularity's sake, which is what like some very specific cosplayers I know do, that's where it gets like, I'm not sure if that's. I mean, if you want, sure. If you want, it hurts a little bit, stings a little bit, just stings.
Yeah, it's tricky
Like
because like when you finally get that representation, that character, like that, that property, people feel the inherent need to sort of not gatekeep it necessarily, but to be protective of it because like it's so scarce. Like this is the character, and if you play it wrong, like you're kind of just making us look stupid or bad, or making the character look worse. Like, I don't know if it's the healthiest impulse because gatekeeping is not generally a good thing. It can help sometimes, talking about the Avatar movie, for example. But
I don't
That's
understand this part about that one.
Oh gosh.
But my sincere hope is that as we get more characters, more properties, more diverse things, that there is not a need to feel so defensive about like a character who happens to be Asian. At least that's my take, at least.
Also, Silk is so hot.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue with cosplay is that people tend to only want to cosplay characters that make them feel gratified and they're like being physically attractive. You know what I mean? So like, oh, Silk is so hot, like she's the sexiest Spider Woman, and it's like, but we have so many sexy Spider Women. The thing is Silk is like the issue of being sexualized and not sexy, where she can be sexy, but more people see her as like a, just because of how it is.
Yeah. But she's really badass with her moves. She can actually create spider webs, right?
Yeah, she's I think the first like only canonical one that can actually make spider webs.
Cool. Because I miss the Tobey Maguire, like first original Spider-Man, where he's able to actually make his own webs.
I love that in the more recent movie they were like, that's gross.
Yeah, that one movie.
How do you do that? Just like it just happens. It's like it's weird.
I just remember that one moment. What was it? What was that one movie? Far From Home?
Yeah.
Whenever he goes to like Europe?
No, the one when like the 3 Spider-Mans meet.
Oh, that was I know which movie you're talking about. What was it? It's
that was the most recent one.
Spider-Man 3 Spider-Man.
And when the 3 of them met, and then off behind the scenes they did like the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
I feel like it's a less of like gatekeeping and more like when you see yourself in a character, it's like it kind of hurts to see other people like want to take away the fact that they are Asian. Like, well, you no longer feel like it's you no longer feel like you're being represented or heard.
That's Ip Man was brought up earlier by Noemi. I think that's a perfect example of a character who is like meant to be like a Chinese man, and like sure anyone could dress up as Ip Man, but it really wouldn't be the same character anymore, would it? Because like his entire thing was like battling the foreign invaders and like doing the martial arts, being proud of his like ancient like craft, and it would get weird, I think, if like someone was like, yeah, I'm him because he's a cool martial arts guy. It's like,
I'm not gonna name any names, but I know people who do that, and it's like, I mean, as long as you're like respectful to the character, that's fine.
Yeah,
You're respectful, you love the character, you know everything about them, that's fine. But like when it becomes like a thing for your own like gratification of like, I want to feel good about myself, so I'm gonna be this character that is very obviously sexualized for being what they are, for being Asian, because that's the problem with Silk, is that she is sexualized for being Asian. That's where it becomes like a I don't know about that one, Chief.
right.
It really
Kinda like
boosts up
having
a feature. Oh,
the
sorry.
it's like having the baggage of like, well, you don't have to deal with this on a daily basis. Like you can take the cosplay off and not be Asian anymore, and no one will sexualize
Yeah.
you.
Be Asian anymore.
Yeah.
Temporary
As
Asian.
Asian
Temporary
representation
Asian
scholar
granted.
Ronald Takaki says about the racial uniform. He was talking about
Hashtag-
cosplay.
Hashtag transracial.
Oh my god.
My God.
Ollie London. Hello, Ollie London.
Ugh.
Mhm.
But I was gonna say like it's almost kind of insulting. It may even be a little weird, a little goofy.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
little punky.
I had this conversation with a customer. Of course he was an older man, of not
Yeah.
Asian heritage, but
Huh.
he had walked up to me, and I was on the first day of my job, and he was like, "Oh, hello, are you Filipino?" And I'm like, yeah. What about it?" Like, I didn't understand his question, but then he started talking to me about how, you know, Filipinas and just Asian girls in general have nice, like, olive toned skin, almond shaped eyes, and started talking about my body structure, and I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh no.
Are you looking for a computer? Because
Sir,
there's
this
plenty
is-
of them here.
Sir, this is a
electronic
Wendy's.
store.
But
We're at a Best Buy.
It got me thinking. It really got me thinking. I was like, there are actual people that would walk up to me and say, "Wow, you're hot because you're Asian." That scares me. I'm like, no, I should be pretty because I'm pretty.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
Does
it feels
everyone
like
here have an
objectification,
Asian?
like-
Does everyone here have an Asian wife guy story?
Asian
yeah.
cat story.
Asian Wi-Fi.
Asian wife guy story. Or, like my wife's Asian, and I
Oh
therefore-
yeah, no. So he did mention that. So he was like, yeah, my neighbor, he's like in his 40s, and he has a really nice Filipino wife, and I'm like, okay,
Oh god. Oh god.
all right.
I'm gonna cry thinking about this. Oh my god. I don't want to think about this one.
unlocking new generational trauma, the second generation experience.
Oh
The
god.
1.5
Old generational trauma.
period.
I actually avoid that man every time he comes into the store.
I would avoid him too.
I would invite him to. He's
The
definitely a
second
serial
time,
killer.
yeah, he wants to take my skin.
Oh god.
But the second time I saw him was when I was helping another customer with a printer, and he had walked past me, and he was just like, "That's the Asian girl I know," and I'm like, "Okay, all right."
Oh no.
And I immediately ran to the warehouse because I was like, "Nope, I don't want to deal with this. I'm good. I'm gonna tell my manager, and I'm not coming out until he leaves."
Mm-hmm.
Oh goodness. There was one where there was a guy who came up to me and he was talking about having a good submissive wife. And then he was like, "You dye your hair white because you want to be closer to whiteness and you're ashamed of your Asian heritage." And I was like,
What?
Whoa.
I was like, "Oh god." I was like,
white people
I don't know.
famously have white hair.
I was like, I don't know how to tell this guy. I just really wanted to look like Sesshomaru from Inuyasha.
So you actually
You
have
just
dyed
unlocked
white hair
this
like
memory
Shishomaru?
about like
Yeah.
Oh, that's so pretty.
you know how you mentioned like they said, oh yeah, Asian girls are pretty. I've been hit with the, whoa, you're really pretty for a Vietnamese person.
What the fuck?
Yes.
I feel like is that even more insulting? Like
It's more.
what?
Yeah, that's
you think
definitely
we
more
are
insulting.
insulting.
Or-
But that
It's
is,
like Ali
extra
Wong says,
insulting.
you're not the fancy Asian, you're the jungle Asian.
I I joke
don't say that.
No, I say it about myself. Like, I'll joke to my coworkers who are, by the way, super old, super white, like boomers, and I'm like, yeah, it's the jungle Asian in me. And everyone, I love making people feel so awkward because they'll look around and they'll be like, "Is it okay for me to laugh?" Like,
They
can
just
I
don't know
laugh
what to do. They're like, oh.
because she's making fun of herself. Like, is that okay? But yeah, it's like, because it's not the Asians that you see like Chinese or Korean or Japanese. It's like Southeast Asia. We're a little bit darker and we're a little bit poorer, and like most people are like, oh, I thought you were, like in their minds the inoffensive Asian, and I'm like, no, I'm like
Oh.
Vietnamese. Like, you can go back like 10 generations and I'll be Vietnamese. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Go back to whatever dynasty it was that they named everyone in Vietnam after, and you're there.
yeah, right.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. God. But yeah, that just unlocked the memory. I was like, what do you mean? Like, pretty for a Vietnamese person? Like, doesn't make any sense.
The worst part about being mixed is getting mistaken for another race. A lot of the times I am mistaken for Latina. And
Goodness.
so people would come up to me speaking full Spanish, and I'm gonna be like, huh?
Oh, I'm not mixed, and that happens to me all the time. People speak
Not
to me
not
in
gonna lie,
Japanese
that
or
happens to
Korean,
me
like,
all the
that
time in
happens to
Spanish.
me. Yeah.
I
I'm
feel
like,
like it happens to like Southeast Asians, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes people don't realize that
Mhm.
Asians that are not like East Asian exist.
Mhm.
Like I feel like people forget that yeah, there are more Asians than Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do gotta say,
But
we
to be
are technically the
fair-
Mexican of Asians.
Oh my
Like, to
God.
be fair, if you don't know like each Asian, race that well and like their characteristics,
Yeah, well, you shouldn't
Putting
walk up to
aside,
someone and
like,
be like, "Are
you
you Vietnamese?"
yeah,
I went to
it's
Vietnam
like
once.
how weird that
I got a
sounds.
Vietnamese daughter-in-law.
Got a Vietnamese wife.
I remember the war.
I
was in
remember when they
Nam
made
in
Hawaii
the
state.
80s.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to mention, like, the media representation of Vietnamese women in America has been abysmal,
Mhm.
like,
Oh
Oh.
yeah.
Mhm.
Going back to Full Metal Jacket and beyond, just
mhm. Like,
Yeah,
what's that
like,
me
really,
loving a long
like,
time comes from.
poverty porn, like, Vietnamese movie? I don't even fucking know, but, like, it's terrible.
No, that's India.
I remember it's a very tangential story, but like I feel like it kind of fits in with the flavor of these stories we've had.
Yeah.
I just got reminded of it. Apparently, when I was like really little, and my mom and I had just moved out after my parents had divorced, so we went to a new neighborhood. So I got the story secondhand from my mom because I was like 1 at the time. But apparently, my mom's neighbor one time went up to her, like because she saw her with little baby Revy, and was like, it was like, "Are you sure your daughter's fully Chinese? She looks half white to me." And I
my
was
God.
like, "What?" When my mom
Whoa.
told me this story, I was like, "What do you mean? What did she mean?"
Oh my goodness, that happened to me because MILF Dinktopus is real. I actually do have a child. And one time I was just walking around holding my baby, right? And then somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, is your so your husband, right? Does he work here?" And I'm like, what are you talking about?" And it's like, "Oh, well, I mean, your kid's eyes, they're so big. Like, I mean, your husband, he's white, right?" And I'm like, "What the hello?" And I was like, no, they have my father's eyes." And it's like, "Oh, so your father was white." And I was like,
No!
What did they assume? I don't get it.
Oh man.
Babies do not have ethnicities. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say that. Like, all babies are just little mushy puddles of like skin
skin
and
wrinkles.
hair.
They're
Wrinkles.
essentially beginner dittos. Like,
Exactly.
you don't know what they are yet.
Yeah.
All
you
babies
look
have
at-
one ethnicity. Potato.
Exactly. My baby pictures, I am white with blue eyes and spiky black hair. Like,
"Why?"
because
Oh,
the
why
melanin
did
come
you
in
do-
yet.
Yeah, it's actually possible for a lot of babies I think are born with blue eyes,
Mhm.
even if they
Mhm.
don't have blue eyes later on in life. It's something about like the melanin taking longer to develop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't had any sun. The sunroof wasn't installed in my mama's womb yet.
Oh my god.
Oh, your mom didn't install the fancy sunroom? Sunroom?
No
I was
sun.
100% baked when I was little. Because I came out dark, very, very dark. And then as I grew up, I lightened up in my skin tone. And now going back to dark for some reason. I can't explain it. But it's just the way my body works, I guess.
A roller coaster of
It's just how it
melanin.
is. I don't
And I
know. When
have
I was
two
born,
sides
I
of
was
melanin. Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's great. It's got
It's
double
Sun
dose.
can't
melanated
hurt
on
me.
both.
Fight me.
When I was born a stereotypical fat Chinese baby.
Nice.
Nice.
But I was also born in a test tube, so who knows?
Oh,
Oh. Cool.
what was that
Maybe
like?
it was by design, who knows?
What
Did
test
you
tube
get
was-
any cool upgrades installed in the test tube?
Yeah,
Do you
she
ever
got the
think
white
No
you had a
dad.
allergies.
microchip in your
the
hand?
white dad.
I have insane freakish strength for some reason.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'd like that.
But can you make webs?
Muscle
You make
actual muscle mommy type B. I was just like ripping leather with my bare hands all day yesterday.
Hey.
Hey,
Damn.
that's cosplay strength.
Oh yeah.
Frustration.
Speaking of frustration, early
Great
on,
segue.
videos from API content creators focus on topics such as dating, family expectations, media image/representation. Were these universal topics that creators were speaking to, or was there anything particular that resonated for young AAPI people?
I would say the jokes. Jokes about my son is a failure, my daughter not go to college, never get fiance kind of jokes have really stuck with this like new generation. And it
Mhm.
kind of shows how, you know, our parents used to hammer that into our heads.
Yeah. Comparing us to our successful cousin that got into Harvard at age 13,
No, they don't have
two
Harvard.
jobs and a Nobel Peace Prize by the age of 17.
Is an
They don't have Harvard
astronaut and a
over in the
Navy SEAL like
Philippines.
Johnny Kim.
Performed an appendectomy on their own coworker when they were out in the International Space Station.
Made billions for the family at age 7.
Gotta grow up to be like your cousin Scotty. He's already a war general. It's like, how did he do that at the age of like 16?
Your cousin has his own apartment. He's going to Tion's property. Yeah,
I
so
feel like this is more like.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is more like a, hey, as an Asian like femme presenting person, have you ever been just outright expected to like get married if you don't get a job?
Luckily for me, no, because my dad is a psychopath and will show you his gun collection before he sends his precious daughter away to a man.
Damn.
My mom, however, she's very laid back. I was lucky to have a mom that wasn't pressuring me to join a religion or to wear certain clothes or to act a certain way. It was mostly my dad's influence that caused me stress. As that was missing from my Asian life. He was like, you should join the military, you should get a job, you should invest in like a 401k. And I'm like, Dad, I'm 16.
How am I gonna do that?
I don't even have a job yet. I can't even drive.
I mean, luckily, like, in some ways I was pretty fortunate because, yeah, luckily my mom hasn't pressured me to get into a relationship immediately. It's a different type of pressure because my mom has been through 2 marriages, neither of which ended well, so luckily she is of the opinion of like, daughter of mine, you should find the perfect man for you. Don't be like me. And I'm like, but unfortunately, as a result, she's also become really overprotective, and she seems to think that the race or ethnicity of the person that I date will somehow have a hand in if a relationship is successful. So what I was talking about, what I was talking about earlier, like in the server, when I was like, yeah, my mom only wants me dating white men. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's because she has a very skewed sense of, protectiveness, and I understand that she wants me to find the ideal partner. She doesn't want me to get hurt like she did. But, she's kind of expressing it in the wrong way.
Understandable.
Yeah.
It's tough because Asian parents want to take their lived experience and like protect you from what they had to go through. But it's not always like a universal thing. Like there are other things out there that could be true, such as like having a partner who isn't Chinese, like can also be good or bad depending on the person and their circumstances.
Yeah, like the quality of my partner isn't going to be determined by what race they are, right?
Right. And it is weird when cough people like
you.
Amy Chua cough try to pretend that there's something inherent in like ethnic groups that make them better or more successful than others.
Yeah.
That was just weird.
That's definitely like something that I feel like was super portrayed in like a media that catered to Asians growing up, is like the Asian wife, white libertarian boyfriend / husband. And like, oh
Never
goodness,
ask
or
a
the
libertarian the race of his wife.
or at like on top the flip side, the jungle fever quote, where it's like Asian woman, black man, and that if you're an Asian person, especially due to like certain other influencers in the media, they fully expect you to either be dating a white man or a black man, and if you don't date either, you're racist.
That's crazy.
And it's like, thank you, TikTok.
Damn.
TikTok should just shut up. I fully endorse a ban of TikTok. Just get it out of here.
It's literally gonna get banned anyway.
Yeah, get it out of here.
A part of me is conflicted about the TikTok ban because, like, here's the thing. There's so much shit on TikTok. Like, I hate that. I hate the platform. But also, the bill itself is really scary because I'm pretty sure, like, it's basically like an internet censorship bill disguised as a TikTok ban, right?
Yeah,
it's getting people to support it
in a bill. It's like, we don't like China, so this is what we're gonna do to like screw over China. Like, even though TikTok is not owned in any way by the Chinese government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's also concerning because I think the bill in it is hidden like a clause about like, oh yeah, we'll be able to like spy on platforms and look at information exchanges on social media. But on the outside, they're just presenting it. Well, yeah, but it's like more. I need to look into the like complete bill because I think it like allows for more government surveillance, and then it's just disguising it as like, oh, we're just banning TikTok. Woo.
Nah.
Oh yeah, no, like that was a joke, by the way. I do not endorse banning TikTok at all. Just see episode 27 of The Depths. But
also fuck TikTok.
But also fuck TikTok influencers in particular.
There's a lot of you're right. There's a lot of shit that happened on TikTok that they could have done a better job in moderating it, but they just didn't, which was the odd thing.
Yeah. I remember when I first...
Online people, no matter the platform, will find stupid, weird things to say about relationships and, like, dating dynamics and age gaps and just everything to do with dating.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I remember when I first started using TikTok, I posted a singular video. Like, at first I was getting just memes, right? But then I posted, like, a video of, like, just me. I don't even remember what it was doing. And then all of a sudden I started getting like a bunch of videos about like single Asian male looking for girlfriend.
Oh, damn.
It's like my whole feed just turned into like dating website, and I was like, what is... I thought this was a funny meme app. Like,
sorry, what was this video about again? Just taking notes real quick.
It's for research.
Yeah, for research.
Research purpose.
Might be opening a TikTok account.
I think it was just me standing, like quite literally, really nothing,
Yeah.
just my face.
There's nothing
I wanted to
sexual
test the
about
algorithm.
All right, time to post videos of ourselves just standing.
It's like,
poses.
hello, uncoupled Asian women. Do you want? Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Like I feel like definitely now more so compared to previous like years, the internet like they really are just spying on us. They're trying to like shape what content we want to see based on what they think we are. And I think that just the whole like bringing up the dating thing and the TikTok thing is just yeah, I think that they're trying really hard to cater to me being Asian and not necessarily to what I would enjoy, you know?
Your actual interests, which I assume
Mhm.
involves ripping leather by hand.
It does involve workout videos, yes.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Pumping iron and like freeform wet rock climbing.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Bouldering.
That
Love
is
it.
so hardcore.
Oh, to be strong instead of just having my noodle arms.
I mean, literally, if you look up the Bunny Boys on Instagram, like official Bunny Boys, there's a reason why we're all friends. Like I'm friends with them, is they're all bodybuilders, and I used to be a bodybuilder.
Oh. Ooh.
Shout out to bodybuilding Asian men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kunail and Johnny's abs.
Is there something you want to say?
Do you want to talk about anything? It's
No,
okay.
no,
We're here to
hashtag
listen.
It's okay. You could tell mommy anything.
Hey yo.
But speaking of mommies, I really do find like the earliest YouTube that popped off was a lot of skit comedy, like skewering your parents, talking about dating relationships. Well, it's not a coincidence that like one of Wong Fu's like earliest videos that popped off was Yellow Fever, because like that
Oh
was
God, that
speaking
one.
to an actual insecurity that Asian men have, especially young Asian men. Because the whole premise of that video, if you haven't seen it, is, hey, why are these white men taking our Asian ladies, and like, why can't we attract them? And it was comedic, yes, but every like Asian guy watching that is like, oh yeah, that is weird, right?
Yeah. Like, that really loops back to the pressure of like you need to date a white man because a white man will take care of you. Like, it's so multi-layered when it comes down to like how our media, like us being portraying ourselves and like Asian people showing other Asian people like let's have this conversation about this thing that our parents pressured us into, versus like when people non-Asian people make media about Asian people, it's always like, oh yeah, let me just insert racial slur, you know. See, if this was a private call and we weren't streaming it, I would just outright say it.
No, of course.
But I think all of you know the exact 4 words I was going to say.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think it's so. I was rereading the book, the novel No No Boy by John Okada the other day. It's one of the first Asian American novels that was ever published. It was published in the 50s, actually. And it was about a Japanese American man who refuses to go into the military, is interned and sent to prison, and is like rejected by his community after the war because he was a troublemaker. Like instead of like going into the camps or fighting for the military, he said, "No, I'm not doing that." And there is a passage in the book where he skewers like other people. He's like, yeah, and like what of the Chinese woman who like dates a white man and thinks that she has risen in the world, and like he's saying this in like 1953. Like it's been a common theme of like Asian American like literature and like thought for a long time about like rising social standards wise and like assimilating into America and what that means. Does it mean like marrying out of the community? Does it mean like forgetting your Asianness and trying to shed it as quickly as possible? And I
In
think for
America,
a lot of
it's
people,
super hard.
yeah, I think for a lot of people, like for a couple of decades, that was the prevailing thought. Like you want to become American as quickly as possible. And I think that changed when like more Asian voices and faces started to show up on the media.
I feel like that's definitely my parents' view. I mean, they came to America not knowing any English, and like the first thing they did when they had me was, as soon as I was bringing English back home, they would try to use like English and learn English. And to the point where I'm probably, and I don't even know that much Vietnamese, but I'm probably the one like child that knows the most because I'm the oldest.
Mhm.
And as like my brother and sister grew up, you know, being in a household that would try to use only English, like my sister and brother's Vietnamese are like almost non-existent. And it's like,
Mhm.
of course, they still celebrate the really big holidays, but I mean, as far as like culturally, they try to shed as much like Vietnameseness as possible to like integrate, because that was their opinion of how they
Mm.
could integrate into American
Mm.
society, right? Was like to try to shed their like foreign nativeness, you know, like and be a part of American society.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I feel like I went through something so similar. It's wild, yeah. Um, Growing up, I just spoke English, and it was for the same reason, because my mom was hoping that if I spoke fluent English, if I spoke native-born English, then I would fit in with people better, and I would,
Right.
white people, the white kids at school would treat me, more
Mhm.
closer to one of their
Mhm.
own. They didn't,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh
that's
gosh.
definitely, I
Yeah.
understand that the thought of like, oh, you have to, well, not have to, but oh, it'll be easiest for you if you become like
Right.
one of theirs, right?
Yeah. And it's such a shame because I feel like I've missed out on so much, like learning about my heritage and like
Mm-hmm.
years later coming back and like really, you know, reflecting on my identity and like how I fit into
Mhm.
the world. I feel like I miss so much. I missed so much growing up, and I don't have a lot
Mhm.
of context for a lot of things that I see more of my like friends who grew up in more, you know, like Vietnamese households are doing, you know, like
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
it's weird because it's something that I never had, but I feel a loss of it in my
Mm-hmm.
everyday life.
Did
Yeah.
you all
Yeah.
growing up, did you have the sort of like the struggle between like the fresh off the boat Asians and like yourself? Like the Fabi Asians versus you?
In
Or was this
Oh
college.
yeah.
in college? Interesting.
Yeah. In college, because that's when I started like, well, like all the way until high school, I really did not like, there weren't many other East Asians where I went to school. Elementary school, middle school, none. High school, there were a
Mhm.
few,
Mhm.
but I think college was when I started like getting to know people that, one, were actually like studying abroad from China or grew up in families where
Mm-hmm.
they did speak Mandarin at home
Mm.
and were really, really involved with their Chinese heritage. And
Mhm.
sometimes when I was interacting with them, I was like, I feel more like an American
Mm.
kid than a Chinese kid,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It was high school for me. I mean, I grew up in a very like multicultural area. San Jose has a huge population of not just Vietnamese, but also like Chinese, Filipino, you know, like cultures growing up. I had cousins who moved to the United States from Vietnam, like, and they were a little bit younger. Like, some of them were a little bit younger and some were a little bit older. And I mean, at the time, in my head, I made a very clear distinction. Like, I am American born Vietnamese and they're Vietnamese, you know? And like, I'm pretty sure I was like a little shit about it too, where I was like, well, they're
Mhm.
not like me, they're not like us, you
Mm.
know? But
Mhm.
you know, like years later, kind of thinking about it, like it was very brave of them to, you know, come here, just like, you know, anyone escaping from a foreign country torn by war, not
Mhm.
knowing the language, or maybe even if they studied it in school, knowing a little bit. It's different when you study a language and you're like fully immersed in a country that only uses that language in daily life, you know, and like having to adjust to that, having to adjust to a social life and not being near the family that you're used
Mhm.
to, because they were still family, but there was like a really big divide between like the cousins who were born in America versus the cousins who came from Vietnam. I don't think that is as big of a thing now that we're all grown up, right? And like we
Mhm.
have
Of course, yeah.
like a more mature view of this, but definitely when I was younger, there was like, there was a distinction between the fobs and the native born, like American native born
Right.
kids.
The second generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 We had it bad in my school because I went to I'm not sucking my own dick. I'm not
Huh?
tooting my own
Andrew?
horn here,
Huh?
but
Hello.
I
But-
zoned out for like 2 seconds then. I was like, huh?
hang on, I just have to write down this part of the VOD to delete.
Someone
not-
clip it!
I'm not tooting my own
Put this
horn
on.
here, but I went to an academically gifted school in New York. That was 70% Asian. So we had that fob versus like first generation Asian thing because like both families like were pushing like their kids to go to the school. But like when you got there, it's like, oh, she's so fobby or he's so fobby. Like it was like this
Yeah.
actual like dichotomy where you didn't want to do anything with like you didn't want anything to do with the fobby kids, and then the fobby kids kind of stuck together. It was like that, you know. I think that broke
Yeah.
down as people went to undergrad and stuff, but like definitely like that was a huge thing in my school.
Yeah.
Yeah, interestingly, I didn't get that in my high school because I went to like a really small private high school where all like the families were rich.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, not my working class ass high school.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was around royalty.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I went to school with a uniform. On Mondays we
Oh.
had to wear like our formal uniform with like the blazer and like the tie and everything.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you actually lived Persona.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Where I came from, the California Valley, they actually like do this really, they still do it. Like it's very bad in my opinion, but they have all of the Asian kids, specifically only Asian kids, go to language classes so
What?
that they wouldn't be fobby
Wow.
growing up in
Oh.
school. Like
Incredible.
it's, yeah, it's a, but
Oh.
but most of these kids actually only speak the native language. They only speak their native languages,
Okay,
and
well,
they
that's
have
just
like a really
ESL,
hard time
yeah.
speaking it.
Right.
Yeah. So some of them do go to DSL, but me, who
ESL.
actually spoke perfect English, they would have me go to ESL, and I would sit there. I'd be like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm like top of my class in English, and they're just like, oh, well, I mean, I don't know why you're here either, but the school won't let us take you out of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay.
So, like you're here to
Sure.
teach the others as an example.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure when I was starting off school, I was ESL from like kindergarten to first grade
Oh.
because of my home situation. Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm.
like I always joke
Mhm.
like because I speak perfect English and I taught English in Japan, but I always joke I'm like, yeah, English isn't my first language because technically it's true. Like for the longest time, I only spoke Vietnamese at home. But then when I went to school is when school was like, wow, she can't communicate with anyone. Let's put her into class so she can learn English real fast.
Damn.
Yeah, so
Oh,
same
gosh.
as meandering otaku, aka Yuichi and Chad, who also had to do ESL for the first couple of years. That's so funny. By the way, chat, we're coming up close to the end of our podcast. We have about 20 minutes to go, possibly a little less, to wrap things up. If you have any closing questions for our panel about content creation, the original like 2000s nostalgia, etc., feel free to get them in now. If they're relevant, we'll answer them and try to work them into the pod. But I'm gonna ask one more question. This is about because we were talking a bit about the comedy and the skit-based like videos that sort of were prevalent in the late 2000s. And here's the question. Some content does not age well. This is particularly true for comedy, doubly so for comedy that speaks to stereotypes or social issues. This can describe many videos from early AAPI creators that discussed masculinity, yellow fever, and other hot topics. Do you think there's a value in revisiting these old videos, or is it better, in your opinion, that they fade into memory?
It feels like you're just making a call-out post for Ryan Higa. How to be gangster? That did not age well.
No.
But is it not like an important cultural touchstone of like the late 2000s, like where Asians were at? A little bit?
I mean,
think it's
kind of
little
is,
bit,
yeah.
maybe.
This touches upon the topic too of like lost media and like if these videos were to be, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of archive going on for like all these old videos now. But like, well, who was it? Kev Jumbo who like posted
Mhm.
that Monk College video and privated it, so like it's no
Mhm.
longer available. Like, did anybody archive that?
Mhm.
Like, that's lost media. Like, we live in a
Mhm.
society that like is getting more and more digital and like only exists online, and if these videos ever disappeared and were unfindable, like how would we ever understand the Asian American experience like in the late 2010 or late 2000s, you know? Like I think it's important to like there's not like we don't have to take them at face value, but like it's important to understand like the context. You have to contextualize these videos, right? Like the
Mm.
time that they came out in and the people that they were speaking to and the people who made them and their like lived experiences, but like I don't think
Mhm.
we should forget about it.
Mhm.
How else would you know that Rich Brian changed his name?
Yeah. Well, no, we're not forgetting about that, Rich Brian. Same thing with the Joji. Joji has so many videos where he is just like saying things he should not be saying,
Mm.
and then like on top of that, like we all know Joji wants to forget it more than anyone else, but like that's kind of like where the issue stands. Is like there is a lot of lost media, like Joji's vlogs, for example, where he tries to actually talk about his issues as like growing up as an uh, Asian Australian,
Mm.
and like nobody wanted to hear it because they just wanted the funny man.
Right.
And I feel like that's what a lot of like the skit comedy people have to face. Is like at one point you were the funny man and no one's ever going to take you seriously.
That's a
I feel like
great
that's a
point.
really like real fear, you know, a genuine fear of like me being funny shit poster, haha, or like people only knowing me for like you go to party and like everyone likes you because you're a really good like life of the party, but like I'm a California fuckboy. I do the boba and the viewpoint all the time. You know, the sad boy listening to Keshi and everything.
Yeah, while I think that it is important to know like what we can move on from, I do agree it's very important to like preserve a lot of the media that hasn't aged well. It's important to remind people that they haven't aged well, but I think what's more important is, you know, preserving it for the sake of remembering where we came from, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
For seeing how we've progressed as, you know, as how Asian Americans have been viewed in media, how it's progressed from then until now. Because this is a tangential point that is important, but it helps the argument. I don't know if y'all seen it, but there was a tweet going around that was like, I think it was a tweet or some sort of post of like, I think a teenager being like, wait, gay marriage used to be illegal?
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
right?
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like a Gen Z kid or like or
Yeah.
younger being genuinely baffled that it wasn't always illegal, and I was like, this
Right,
is
'cause
why we
people
need to.
take for granted like how it is now,
Mhm.
and I mean we notoriously humans in general notoriously have very short memories.
Oh,
You know, and we also make really bad choices based on, you know, our risk assessment. And like, if we don't have these, it's almost like a time capsule, right? Like, if we don't have these videos to like look back on, to like examine, how else would we know, you know?
Yeah. And like we can regress. We can take it's possible to take steps back. And I worry that, you know, if we forget all of this media that hasn't aged well, if we forget about it, we're risking repeating it because people forget just how bad it used to be, right?
Yeah.
It is so important to like look at these videos and like recognize that people were struggling to be heard back then. They were putting it out on the internet, which was like an unproven thing. Who knew what a YouTuber was back in like
Right.
2006, 2007? They were just
Yeah, that
making
didn't
videos for the
exist as
fun
a
of it.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
There
YouTube
was no
didn't pay them.
algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't get paid until 2012. If like I was doing research, like it's like according to a new partnership sharing agreement, they don't get paid. I'm like, wow, 2012, okay.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
Prior to that, they
Wow.
weren't getting like shares of money like that.
They just did it because they wanted to like share their experiences and like do something that they loved that wasn't, like accepted by their parents. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
That wasn't being in pre-med for like whatever.
yeah.
It's
I feel like that's
we in so many I'll be a quick point. We in so many ways do owe it to them because like we are all making content. We're all streaming. We're all not like we some of us may have careers, but we're all doing this thing together because we all kind of want to be entertainers. We want to make content, and we are inexorably linked to them, all good and bad.
Yeah. I was gonna say that comes back to like Markiplier and how Markiplier had that whole video. Like I feel like was it a Q&A, but there was like a video where he was just talking about stuff, and he had that one bit where he was like sitting in the bathtub with like the shower running, and he's just like, I went to college to be an engineer. I have an engineering degree. Now I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean, just like okay, we talked about Ken Jeong earlier in the podcast. Like Ken Jeong is a certified doctor.
Yes.
Like he
Yes.
holds a license to practice medicine, and he went into acting. Like I think this is the story of like Asian Americans is like we have these, parents probably and community that push us to like rise above, but like that it doesn't take into account the individual and like their passions and ambitions.
They just it never seemed viable because like look around, look at like our parents' perspective. Like how many YouTubers did you know, streamers like
Yeah.
making the thing over to like TV or like mainstream media. Like there was not it was not viable. It's not a thing that Asians do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like at least the people that I was surrounded with, they had like the perspective of, oh, you need to do something to show that you're capable, right? Like an engineering degree shows you're smart. Going to medical school shows that you are smart, right? And I think that a great thing to learn or to realize from all these content creators that have like the engineering degree, that have the license to practice like as a health professional, like I think it's great to show that being smart, capable, and independent, and being a content creator, they're not like mutually exclusive things. Like I have a bachelor's degree from the top 20 like university in the United States for computer science.
Let's go.
I am smart. I am capable, and I'm fully 100% confident that we are all very incredibly intelligent, amazing, independent people here. And you can be all that and still be here creating what you love.
Yeah, I mean,
this guy.
This guy.
Like, you want to know why I got into content creation is because I feel like I have something to show the world and tell the world, and I feel like it's very similar to your reasons for being content creators too. Everyone has like a vision that they want to share with the world, and like we think that no one else can execute our vision the way that we can, right? Because there's only one of us in this entire world. So nothing's stopping you from doing that.
That's so beautiful.
I think for me, I'm a very rare case when it comes to like that kind of topic where like my dad like fully wanted me to like, oh, you do live your dream, like if you want that, sure, whatever. Like I think the only thing he really wanted me to do was like just actually create things. And so he was like my biggest supporter in going into like cosplay and stuff.
Aww.
And so it comes back down to like the kind of like your parents move you to do things, and I feel like I was really blessed to actually have a father who fully supported everything I wanted to do. I feel like that's really rare for other Asian content creators I watched growing up, because a lot of them didn't have that support like at all. It felt, and when you think about it, you really think about it, like these people were kind of just going through it alone. And it felt like for for a lot of like Asian people watching, like it felt like understanding that you're not the only one going through this alone. You know, like we're all going through it. Like that kind of understanding of like, there's, you know, we're all feeling the same kind of pain. Like, I feel like all Asian people just kind of trauma bonded when it came to that kind of thing.
Hell yeah!
I understand your pain of overbearing mother.
I wish, not to like trauma dump, but I don't talk to my parents because my mom, like when I was picking my major for college, I wanted to go to school for like illustration and like fashion design. I didn't know what I wanted because at the time I was really into cosplay and I really wanted to draw stuff. It was either illustration or fashion design. And my mom was like, be realistic. Like, don't go to school for that. So she like threatened me with like kicking me out of the house
Oh my
or I
goodness
could
gracious.
change, yeah, right? Or I could change my major. So of course, me being 17, not knowing how to support myself when I was young and still a junior at this point, I hadn't chosen yet. I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to be realistic. And like years later, coming back to that, like a whole different topic, but I brought that back up as like, why don't I come home as much? Is because that choice that I had to make really made me wonder, what if I was able to pursue these things that I really wanted to when I was younger? And my mom shot back and was like, well, you're a smart girl. You would have figured it out. And to like yeah, to all of it, like years later, to be like, well, like you were an adult. I was not an adult at that time, but you're an adult and you can figure it out. And I'm like, that like doesn't mean that hurt doesn't mean anything to you, like that I couldn't freely choose and I wasn't supported by my parents. So I don't know. I feel like you're very, very lucky that you had a dad that like fully supported your creative endeavors.
Thank you. I feel like you're very strong for like having to go through what you did and persevering despite like just doing things out of spite to like actually be able to get where you want to be,
Hell yeah.
And I feel like that's like integral to like the Asian experience, especially as like a femme presenting Asian person, is that it's that much harder because you have so much more expectation to either get married or perform. And if you don't exceed those, if not just meet those expectations, but supersede those expectations, then you're a failure,
Yeah, Princess, you are like one of the smartest people I know. You work incredibly hard. You plan your days down to 15-minute increments. Like,
I need to get better at planning my day out.
It's because there's so much that I want to do, like I literally have to plan it out after, because I work a regular 8 to 5, I work a normal full-time job as a salaried employee that is not related at all to content creation. And it's gotten to the point, it's crazy, where like at lunch, I was like, I need a laptop so I can edit audios at lunch because I'm spending an hour at the office that I'm not doing anything.
When your mom said that you'd figure it out, they may not have had the best intentions in mind. I do believe that like genuinely you would figure it out because you're just that smart.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm making up for lost time at this point. Like, there's so much that I want to do, that like I'm like I gotta make sure that I get it all out before I somehow perish from this world. Like the world needs to know.
before the
I would
clock
immortalize
hits 35
my
and all
content.
VTubers explode.
before I turn 30 and I just crumble into dust.
Oh goodness.
Oh God.
It's just an echo reverb.
Okay, I'm 80 years old.
Isn't there
you
like a
guys,
post
I'm telling you,
about that on Twitter?
The
30?
hag post?
Atro, didn't you make a post about like the hag post?
Yeah, we will be here all night if I start ranting about that. So instead, with respect to everyone's time, I think we're gonna sort of bring it to a close here and have you guys do some plugs. Starting with Rev. Again, I apologize for putting you on the spot, but Rev, what do you have going on?
Damn, more pressure. Let's see here.
You can handle it. You're smart.
Okay, this
You'll figure it out.
Let's see. Here's the process of me figuring it out. Are you watching me, Mom? Okay. So the stuff I have going on immediately right now, I'm getting a highlight video edited of a recent game show I did, Genshin Family Feud IRL streamers versus VTubers. I feel like one thing
Ooh.
I really want to do with my content is, kind of breach this sort of gap between VTubers and IRL streamers. So that's
Mm.
the game show I did. It was like one
Mhm.
step in that direction, which I'm proud of. Oh, and a long-term thing that I'm working on is I'm currently working on getting my outreach model done because I have a new design on the way.
Let's
I'm
go.
I'm
Ooh.
hoping for a debut by the end of the year, but I got some really good news, so I'm hoping mayhaps a debut in October, which
Ooh.
I'm really
Ooh.
hopeful for.
Spooky season.
Yeah,
Right in time, yeah.
yeah, that's some stuff I'm working on.
Thank you so much, Rev, for your perspective today. Really appreciate you
Of
joining us.
course. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Princess, how
Mhm.
about you?
What am I not doing? So I stream on Twitch.
Sleeping.
I know, right? No sleep for me, which is great. I've been playing a lot of Hades 2, so if you want to watch someone play through Hades 2, come by. I think I'm so close to beating it. That's all I'm gonna say. I think I'm so close. So come by, come watch me try to beat this game. I do ASMR uploads every Monday and Friday on my ASMR specific channel. Um, you can check my card for links or whatever. I also play violin with the VTuber Symphony Orchestra. We are an orchestra of all VTubers.
Ooh.
We have, I think, 3 covers out. We've worked on Between Two Worlds. Last year in December, we released a song Between Two Worlds. We've worked on a Wasureiji cover, and then most recently a Lacrimosa Black Butler cover. I also do just regular music on my own. I did a Shooting Stars Automaton cover with a member of VTuber Symphony Orchestra. You can check it out on my regular YouTube channel. I also sing, I bake, and I sew, and all of that content is on my regular YouTube channel. So go check it out.
They're not a YouTuber, remember?
Not a
Remember, they're
YouTuber,
not a
right?
YouTuber.
Not a YouTuber,
YouTuber,
allegedly.
yeah.
They're not a YouTuber.
Allegedly.
Doesn't have any
Put the
content on
videos
there.
on YouTube.
That would be the YouTuber allegations. The
Yeah.
multi-talented princess who I met last year during an API month stream. Happy 1 year anniversary of knowing you.
Happy
You
1 year anniversary.
Hardworking, mega talented being.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Too.
Noemi, how about you? What you got going on?
Oh, well, let me see. So I also work a full-time job. I'm off every Sunday and Monday. So I can either do streams or, I either play Grounded because I recently want to finish that. I really want to finish that. So it's either Sundays or Mondays for me, for the afternoon or in the mornings. But for the rest of the time, it's throughout the week. I'm gonna be editing more videos and hopefully editing like content for horror. I decided to download Visage. I'm not for sure if I'm gonna be okay, but we're gonna hope.
I believe.
If you don't see me in a week, you know what happened.
Oh, no. Thank you so much, Noemi, for joining the panel. And one thing Noemi is also really great at is fantastic karaoke singer.
Oh, you're right. I miss doing karaoke.
Yeah.
No, not
One
the
thing saying-
Filipino stereotype.
No, we made that though. Honestly, I'm not ashamed of that one. That one's actually really good.
It's a positive one. Go check out Noemi. Noemi's super talented, very bubbly, very energetic. One of my favorite people.
Oh.
Ew, ew, ew.
And last but not least, Dank. What you got going on?
Oh, goodness gracious. I feel like I have the most, the least amount of internet presence, but the most at the same time. Probably not actually the most, but like, just a lot of like, I don't know, around, I guess. It is Dinktopus Hunter on everything. Well, this week, for people who live in the Bay Area, hint, nudge, stare at Princess, fanime. I'm going a Danktopus meet and greet for Fanime. I'm heading a Rainbow Six Siege cosplay group.
Ooh.
Directing,
Nice.
I guess. I'm gonna be hopefully crunching after this. Oh my god! I almost forgot I'm con crunching. I'm finishing 2 cosplays to debut at Fanime. So if whoever is in the San Jose area and is going to Fanime or just going to be around, I will be at the late night park rave. I'm also I do a lot of traveling, so if you're going to be in Texas, ironically, follow the 1 Week Rush account on Instagram, or I guess I don't know if we posted it to Twitter, but a lot of my appearances are going to be on those like the parties that we have. A lot of what I'm going to be doing presence online is posting whole ass and titty, I guess.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Reference.
Probably I'm going to see when I will be on the Geeks 5 Ever podcast to talk about Kimochi-Con and other things, and as well as shout out to Hentai Matsuri. I will be there as well.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
Hentai
East Coast
Matsuri.
Asians.
I'll be there too.
In spirit.
Via the internet.
On the iPad.
You take
Yeah.
me with you.
I'll be on
Will
the
you
iPad.
around an iPad?
Yeah.
Here, I can just fit in a pocket. Don't worry.
I'll do like that surrogate from Arrested Development, like higher, higher, Dank movie higher. But Dank, thank you so much for joining the pod. Did anything else to add?
Shout out to other Cambodian VTubers.
Whew.
There's so little of them.
They are few, but they are mighty.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining the pod on late notice. I appreciate that, and also thank you for being authentically you. I think that is possibly the highest praise I can give you. The fact that you are always yourself and you speak your mind, and I do like that about you.
You could just call me autistic. That's okay.
I like that you're authentically autistic and you do autistic.
I have the perfect picture for that.
Shout out to the spectrum.
Shout out to the spectrum. All my homies love the spectrum. Okay. I've been your host, Atramentum_X, Rice Streamer and LootTuber. All my links are at Atramentum.inc. That's INK. My main project is the Depths podcast, which streams regularly on Twitch, but not this month because we're working on this project. The Depths is a podcast on sex, love, and VTubing and all things in between. We will return with this series tomorrow, believe it or not. We're talking relationships, dating, and parental expectations with our panel.
That's a heavy topic.
It's heavy topic. We'll be talking to Myri Rose, Ada, Adamine, Safria, and Ali, aka Althemia, about those topics tomorrow. It's going to be a very lively discussion. Next week on the 30th, we're going to wrap up the series with queer and Asian and talk about the queer experience online for Asian Americans. That will branch us into Pride Month. Yeah, follow all these amazing people here. They will be linked in the description, and like and subscribe if this is on YouTube. I don't know yet. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Mr. Obama.
Perish.